Welcome to Evolution of Self with me, Britannia. Hello. So what I want to talk to you about this week is something I've been thinking about, and that is problems and how they can take up a lot of space in your mind. And it's quite interesting because somebody's big problem might be someone else's really small and insignificant problem. And it doesn't really matter how you scale the problem. If it's big to you and you can't let go of it, it might take up a hell of a lot of space inside your mind. And the reason I've been thinking about this is because some of my colleagues struggle to sleep, and we've been talking about it. And I've shared with them that part of the reason that they're struggling to sleep is because they have things going on in their mind, taking up a lot of space that is keeping them awake. And there's lots of really easy things you can do to get these problems resolved. And the beauty about a problem or a challenge or a worry or whatever it is that's going on in your head is that once you resolve it, it becomes nothing. It is no longer a problem. It's no longer taking up space. It just becomes nothing in your mind. And I suppose one of the most perfect states to try to attain in regards to self-awareness is to be in that space of having nothing in your mind, that sort of empty, beautiful space of just being completely present. But for most of us, that is not reality. And what reality is having lots of these things going on in our heads that take up a lot of space and keep us awake. So there's a couple of things that you can do to resolve this. One of the things that you can do is go for a walk. And as you walk along, just become very aware of what your mind is churning over, because those are the problems that it's taking up space inside your mind. And it doesn't have to be a walk. It can be as you're driving along. And obviously make sure that you're aware of what's going on around you, but your mind is constantly working, it's constantly thinking. And as you drive along, just be aware of what it's thinking about. Be aware of what things it's turning over and trying to resolve or trying to solve. And when you stop, or when you're walking along, or when you wake up at night and those thoughts plague you, get yourself a piece of paper and a pencil, or even open up the notes on your phone and write all of those problems down. Acknowledge them. As soon as you acknowledge them and put them down on something, and it takes writing them down, because if you don't write them down and you just acknowledge them mentally, then they're still in your head. They're still taking up space and energy because you're going to have to remember them. So write them down, because as soon as you write them down, your mind doesn't have to remember them because it acknowledges that you've written it down, you've got a hard copy, or put them in your phone or whatever you choose. The next step is to make a decision on those things, to decide what you're going to do about them. Now, you might not be able to make an immediate decision, but what you might be able to do is to decide to make a decision on them in a week, a month, a year's time, however much time you need to gather the information together that you need to make the decision. And finally, once you've done that, you can let it go. And the letting go of it is actually really simple, because once you've resolved your problem, once you've made a decision to take action on that problem, it no longer takes up space in your mind, because your mind doesn't have to worry and find a solution because you've already decided on the solution. So the whole thing about problems and challenges, especially when they start taking up of time and energy, is that you need to sit down, face them, and make a decision. And it sounds really simple, and I realise that it's not always quite so simple. But anyway, I hope these little thoughts, this little thought bite for the week, will help you in some way or form. As usual, everything's down in the show notes below, my contacts, my social media, links to the show notes, not links to the show notes, links to my online courses, and anything else related to this particular episode. Have a super duper week, and I'll see you again next week, hopefully. So much love from me to you. Bye-bye.